this channel, I interview the brightest minds of physical therapy so they can share their views and experience and help you to improve your practice. I am Mariana Tondo, physical therapist, and if you wanted to increase your knowledge on the physical therapy area, consider subscribing to this channel and clicking on the bell so you don't miss anything. And share this video with people that you think you would benefit from this content. With you now, the Dr. Yoav Suprun interview. Enjoy! Hi, Dr. Yoav. Welcome to PT Pro Talk podcast. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing great and very excited to have you here as my first guest, the pro number one.
Thank you.
Let's jump right in. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your career, and how you got to where you are today?
Originally from Israel, served in the Israeli Air Force from 1990 to 94. Came to America. My father is American, so I always had dual citizenship. And I came to America in 1995, decided that I want to live in New York City. I said, I always loved working with the body. I always worked out. I said, let me get into the field. My mother is a therapist. She does Feldenkrais in Israel. One of my sisters is an acupuncturist. The other one is a reflexologist. My older sister is a dermatologist. So we're all in the healthcare world. And I came to New York in 95 and started my undergraduate degree and decided that eventually I want to go into PT school. Unfortunately, between being a young personal trainer in New York to going to NYU, where I got my doctorate in physical therapy, I injured a bunch of my clients. It didn't take me a long time to become a personal trainer, especially in those days. Now, I must say that right now I'm working with good personal trainers who are more aware of mechanics and the things that McKenzie talks about. But in those days, I didn't know. And you don't know what you don't know. And unfortunately, I made some of my clients worse. And so I went to NYU. I got better education in terms of anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, some pharmacology. And when I graduated NYU, literally in the last day, one of my professors, Evelyn Hecht, said to me, I would like for you to come and work for me. So I started working for Evelyn. It was a big honor that a professor takes you out of school and say, come work for me. And down the road, I took multiple courses. But then there was one time she said to me, there's a McKenzie course. Are you interested in taking it? I said, I'll do whatever you think I should do. And I took part A with an amazing instructor named Dana Green, who I owe him a lot. And in part A, I was shocked when some patients would come in and how Dana would explain the problem to them and encourage them to do one exercise every 1 to 2 hours and watch their posture. And long and behold, within a few days, people got better. And then came my big moment because I had 8 months of pain down my arm, intermittent upper trapezius shoulder blade, and on the left side, and I kept stretching and I wasn't getting better and strengthening my rhomboids, my trapezius, doing everything I learned in school. And, and then I took part B and I took part B with Dana and I got fixed in part B. That was like an eye opener. And I got fixed in 1 weekend after 8 months of suffering. I went home and I was like, this is really my career path. If I can fix myself and I can teach other people to fix their own problems, there is nothing better than that. There's nothing more rewarding. So if God forbid I die tomorrow and I look back in my life, everything I've done so far, I'm happy that I was able to deliver what the genius Robin McKenzie developed and came up with. He really was a visionary. And so it got me to where I am. I'm now in Miami Beach, Florida, where I have a private practice. I also teach for the McKenzie Institute USA branch. I'm happy to say that before the COVID-19 pandemic, our courses were on the rise. Good registration, a lot of full courses. The beauty of MDT, the beauty of mechanical diagnosis and therapy, especially these days where so many people are stuck at home and people do not want to go to their physical therapist, chiropractor, doctor, is that we can offer through telehealth, telemedicine, we can offer a lot of good advice, good strategies to allow the public to understand what it is that they can do to help themselves. So this is my focus has shifted from seeing a lot of patients in person to both consulting through telehealth as well as seeing clients in a private setting through virtual telemedicine.
I think now that everything is switching to telehealth, and McKenzie not being as hands-on as other manual therapy techniques, that was one of my questions, like how do you envision the MDT growth now in the near future with like in this new world that we are living, pandemic world. So what do you think?
So we're very suited to what's going on right now. Look, let's be honest. The majority of the pain that a human being feels in their life is not something sinister, is not fractures, is not cancer, it's mechanical pain. Everyone feels it. We sit for too long, we protrude our neck for too long, we look at our phone for too long, we do something, we lie and watch TV on one side, we do certain things over and over, and structures in the body can move. And sometimes when we get up and we feel this mechanical pain and we walk around, it hurts for a couple of steps and then often it goes away. And people don't know what to do when it's there. And we owe the public, we owe Robin McKenzie, we owe the McKenzie Institute International in general to continue and deliver the important message that the majority, 75% to 80% of people, can fix their own mechanical pain. And there's one thing that is required to do that, and that's education.
Yeah.
And if you're able to deliver the message well, if you're able to educate the public well, which I believe I have the ability to educate well, I enjoy educating, I enjoy breaking down the processes of explanation of what it is that's causing you to feel ABC. Especially because I lived it in my neck for so long. I lived the pain, and I always thought that stretching, as a trainer also, I always thought stretching is the right answer. People think stretching is really important. Stretching can hurt you if you don't know what stretches to do and what not to do. Some stretches are great, some stretches are bad. It depends. You got to be mechanically assessed. So to go back to your question, Mariana, MDT is very suited right now to what's going on. Through telehealth, we can ask very good questions. We can assess a person's range of motion. We can ask, people to bend forward and ask them what the questions that we always ask, and we ask them to bend backward as much as they can. We can move their hips all the way here, all the way here, and we can collect baselines. And then as long as we do it in a structured manner and the person that is on the other side of the line understand what is the goal, we can really help a lot of people, not only in this country, not only in the US, internationally, everywhere. There should be a concentrated effort of McKenzie clinicians worldwide to allow for more public education, more public health campaigns. I think you saw the one I did 2 days ago for the hospitality industry, and there's tons of industries, endless industries, and companies and organizations and the general public that needs to know what mechanical pain is. Unfortunately, the pharmaceuticals don't want the public to know what mechanical pain is, because you don't need to take pills for mechanical pain. You need to move in the right direction.
Yeah. So just to talk a little bit about McKenzie, as you mentioned, that is mechanical. For those people that don't really know much about McKenzie, could you just tell a little bit what is the method and indications, benefits?
Basically, the method, Robin McKenzie was a manual therapist. He worked with his hand, but he realized that the majority of patients, he doesn't need to mobilize the joints in their spine or in their extremities, that if they do repeated movement to end range in a specific direction, what's called the directional preference, most people can adjust their own joints. And so after discovering in 1956, when Mr. Smith came to his office and was limping, had sciatica, and Robin sent him to the room and said, please, go to the room at the end of the hall and lie face down. I'll be right there. And the bed was elevated. So Mr. Smith laid in an extension, lying on his stomach extended, and his pain centralized, moved out of the leg into the back. And so after experimentation and seeing a lot of patients and figuring out certain things need to change or be added, Robin wrote a very important book that is right now, as far as I know, this is #1 bestseller for back pain worldwide. And I think it was sold in 7 or 8 million copies.
That's great.
And the important thing is Robin educates his patients, and so do we, all of us, all McKenzie therapists, educates our patients into understand what is good pain, what is bad pain. So if someone has pain that's going down the leg and that person goes for a jog or goes for a run, at the end or in the middle of the run, they're developing back pain, the run is not bad for them. Actually, they're feeling centralization. When I was a trainer and my clients would go jogging and they had leg pain and then they developed back pain, what do you think I told them to do? To stand, cross their legs and stretch their lower back, because that's what we in general tend to do. So my recommendations were not in line to what really needed to occur. So in one sentence, MDT is a method that allows the public, the patient, the tools, the education and tools to treat themselves, which is invaluable.
Yeah. I think it's such a valuable method to help so many people, and at the same time that is so simple. It's so amazing the results we have. So I think that's very amazing. And now we were talking about education before. So a lot of people, doctors, I have received referrals with discogenic lower back patients. The doctors assume that it's flexion-based pain, and they tell us to treat using the extension McKenzie program. And also I know many physical therapists that believe that the McKenzie is extension. So I think we have a long way to go to educate all of these people about the method and what we can do. So in your opinion, what is the best way to educate, and how can we make the MDT better known?
First of all, for many, many years, until today, people think McKenzie is extension exercises, and that's incorrect. The fact that they're extension responders more than flexion responders, that's a fact. But even today, I had a patient that her home exercise program was flexion in sitting, pulling the legs of the chair. We checked the baselines again, and she got better. One of the things, and I must say, when I took ABCD, I also was fairly afraid of flexing patients. I think one of the best ways for clinicians to get better in this method is to retake the courses. Take part C and part D 3-4 times. Especially now, we are working on telehealth and courses that will be offered, continuing education courses. And so if there's an opportunity to retake the courses, to audit them again, not in every country in the world, but in America, every 2 years, you have to have continuing education units, continuing education credits. And a lot of people go through ABCD, then they go for dry needling. Now they're going for nasal adjustments. There's Graston method. I mean, people are going crazy with the amount of courses. And so people become, and when I teach my courses, I say, listen, if you guys love it, keep taking the courses. You get better the more you see additional instructors, the more you listen to questions of students in the class. It's a method that, although it looks simple, although it sounds simple, it's not. There's a lot of intricacies, a lot of knowledge that comes with time and seeing patients. And so I think that's the pillar to get better in it, is audit the courses, take them again, get involved with people who are certified and diplomats and visit them, go to their clinics, come to our conferences. We have a lot of excellent webinars on the McKenzie Institute, both international and USA websites. So it takes time to get good and comfortable in this method.
Yeah. Yeah, I relate with that because I myself, I repeated the C&D a couple times. And
Smart.
every time that you do it, you have a different vision, because when you are listening to that to the first time, it's just a lot of information. Then you go back to your practice and you start seeing patients and trying to apply the concepts. And then you have other questions. And I think doing the course more times, the experience is so rich because you see they're treating patients, and then you can ask questions. You look at the other eye. So I really think that's a good way to improve. And talking now about your experience as a teacher, I see that you really like about talking. I saw your videos. You like to educate. So when did you start teaching, McKenzie, and what is the experience like to be a teacher?
I think I started teaching in 2012 or 13. What happened to me was I fell in love so much with the method after taking this part B with Dana Green, and then I did C with Mark Miller, who's unbelievable, and D with Scott Herbawi, who is my mentor also. I started to go again. I used to fly, and even though my boss wouldn't pay for me to take the continuing education courses again, I did it out of my own money, and I used to fly and audit and sit. And eventually, some of the instructors were like, hey, this guy keeps coming to the courses. And I would get up without I wasn't shy. And if the audience asked a question, I participated in answering the questions. And eventually I was offered to become faculty. To me, there's nothing better in the world. There's nothing I love more, except for my wife and kid. There's nothing I love more than teaching. I think it's a gift. Not everyone can do it. Education is the center pillar of MDT. Robin was an incredible educator. He would dumb it down to the person that needed simple explanation, and he would elevate the level of education when there was more deep knowledge required. And so I think, it's God's work to be able to transfer knowledge that I got. I can only aspire to be as good as Mark Miller, as Scott Herbawi, as Dana Green, because they have more years over me. They've seen hundreds, if not thousands of patients more than I do. And that's one of the nice things about this institute is we are built as an organization with such amazing people at the top that whenever there's a faculty comes in, and you are 2 years probationary faculty, you go to courses, you start teaching a few models at the beginning, you get critiqued, you start to see one patient in a course, and you see two, then until you run a whole course by yourself. And it's hard, it's demanding, but I think it improves on my ability to be a clinician by teaching it. So I think it's something I'm very, very lucky and fortunate to be, number one, very passionate about MDT because I lived it and it works. I don't need to sell anything except the truth. And when you teach, whether it's a physical therapist, chiropractor, medical doctor, when you teach them the truth, when you stand in front of a crowd and you tell the truth, you don't try to sell them anything. You just explain what's going on. The audience can tell whether you're into it, if you're believing in what you're saying, or you're trying to sell a product. We are one of the very few, if not the only method out there that is truly beneficial in a way that can educate the public how to take care of themselves without coming to see us multiple times.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm sure being a teacher forces you to be always studying and helps you in your practice. I think it's the perfect combination there. Mm-hmm. So talking about research. So a lot of research, they shows that using the McKenzie strategies, we are able to reduce and avoid surgeries, be cost effective, and prevent recurrence. So how do you think we can show insurance that is beneficial for them, have McKenzie clinicians and a strong prevention program?
Okay, so you ready for the sad news?
Oh, no.
Insurance companies are not interested in MDT because insurance companies are not interested in saving money. I'll tell you why. What do you receive from your insurance company every year in the mail? A letter that says, due to the increase in healthcare costs, we are forced to raise your premium. They raise the premium anywhere from 3, 7, 9%. And so it took a long time for Mark Miller and Chad Gray and a group of people in a company called IMC to chase insurance companies. And they realized at the end of the day, if you save the money, it doesn't give them justification
To
to
raise the
give
price.
exactly. So who is interested in listening to us? Michelin, for example, the tire company that IMC is working with, and they saw, I think it was 51.4 or 52.4% reduction in healthcare costs. We're a self-insured company. Amazon that owns Whole Foods also started a pilot study now. Self-insured companies mean they pay for the X-ray, MRI, medication, injection, surgery. They pay for it. Their goal is to save money. And so when they get the bill, and they see that when an employee is injured in Michelin, they can go to this center of excellence, to these McKenzie clinics that are established within the plant. They can see, they can track through very good outcome collection. They're able to track what the person is presenting with. There are a couple of therapists that are helping the clinician get into the result they need to fairly quickly. And the average, I believe, is 6 visits. And so we all realize it through trial and error that certain organizations will not be interested in saving money and will be interested in continuing to do the same old business. And I believe that right now, again, during the pandemic and the new world order, because we're not going back to normal, we're going back to abnormal.
Yeah.
And if now it's time to navigate business as well, there are plenty of organizations, privately owned, publicly owned, that we as clinicians can offer solutions. I would encourage people not to run after those organizations by themselves, but to go through IMC and see, how they did things, and maybe IMC can help that person get involved with a few companies that are now looking at us as the solution for musculoskeletal care. But it's not going to be insurance companies, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it kind of answers my next question because I practiced in Brazil for about 6 years before moving to US, where I live now, that is Nashville, Tennessee. So in Brazil, it was very common to have private practices. You are from Israel. I don't know how it worked there, but so my patients, they always paid their pockets, and we always had like one-on-one. So the big clinics, they're not like strong like here that I can see. I believe that at least in Nashville, few clinicians have private practice. It's not common. The big clinics that have their fast pace visits, therapists have to see 20, 25 patients a day. We know that's very hard to deliver the proper care. It's frustrating for the therapists. And my question would be, do you see a way of changing the system anytime soon? So I think you kind of answered that. Do you have any other insight about that?
It's not, look, the majority of chiropractors in America, the majority own their own business. The majority of physical therapists in America work for someone.
Yeah.
So you also have to have the personality and the drive to be a self-employed, to own your own business. It's not simple, it's not easy. It's doable. I must say that in my business, my marketing, as you know, you have my webinar on the McKenzie Institute website on how to create a successful PT clinic by marketing to the public. All I did was very simple. I just went after the public. I just educated the public what mechanical pain is. And I did it I started in Whole Foods, next to the cafeteria in Whole Foods. And
breakfast every Friday that I heard.
Breakfast with a physical therapist, yes. And so when people say, hey, this is the pain I have, what exercise should I do? And then at the breakfast bar, or when we were sitting, I would say, listen, I owe you a good assessment. Come to my office. And I started, slowly, little by little. Then a trainer came in and he referred me some of his clients. And I built it up, but only through public education. Not once have I taken bagels or lunch to a doctor's office. Not once. You laugh, but I have referrals from veterinarians. I have 2 veterinarians that send me a lot of business. I have 3 acupuncturists that send me a lot of business. I have 2 dentists that send me a lot of business. I have a spine surgeon who's amazing who sends me business. But not because I went to meet with him, it's because he heard of me and I went to one of his lectures and we just started exchanging ideas. And if I think someone needs injectional surgery, I send him the business. But there's absolutely an opportunity. And I always encourage students in my course to at least maybe one day on the weekend, if you live in an area that people can pay cash. I don't know how much, people can pay in Brazil, but in Israel also, the majority of people are working for someone, for an organization. But it's absolutely doable to have, your own business. And you start with, something small, and then, I have a Square reader where I get, credit cards. And first of all, you need to be comfortable in what you're doing. You need to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, to feel comfortable opening a clinic took me multiple parts C and D until I got myself to a level where I said, you know what, I'm ready. It wasn't immediately after taking A, B, C, D, getting credential. You need to dive into the method, get your education solid first, and then it's the right time, to open a business.
Yeah, I believe that's a big challenge for most physical therapists when they think about opening their business, because they don't teach any of this in college. So you kind of have to be brave and try to do something by yourself, and having a solid base for sure it helps. So talking about outcomes, I'm sure you have great outcomes all over, but do you have anyone in special that you would like to tell us about?
What I try to do is, in my private practice, I am very much hands-on. I help my outcomes by being, once my patient leaves me, the following day they get a text. Any questions? They can send me videos of them doing their exercises. They can call if they need me over the weekend. That's how I am. I'm very hands-on in the background. And here in Miami Beach, I have a reputation of someone that will not keep you for 15 or 20 visits. You come to me, you pay for the initial eval, which is long, but first of all, you leave my office educated. You get solid education about your problem, about strategies to address the problem, what you must do, what you cannot do for the next couple of days. So I think outcomes get better when there's good education, and when there's not only treatment strategies, but also prevention strategies. And so some people ask me, well, if you teach your clients how to fix themselves, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, because if you own a business, like a hairstylist, a barber, like any business, you want people to keep coming back, right? That's the nature of business in America, around the world. But what I say and what I've seen in my business is, if I helped your neck, or I help your mother's neck in 4 or 5 visits, when she has a shoulder or hip or knee pain, she's going to come back to me. Not only that, when you do what's right by the public, they go and tell their friends. And luckily, most of the clients that come to see me they already had 15, 20, 25, 30 visits of therapy. And they're like, a lot of the time they're like, okay, I got better, but I don't know if I got better. Some of them didn't get better. And those who got better, they don't know if they got better just because just time went by. We are equipped to get people better fast. And if you do what's right by the public, if you don't, every initial evaluation paper, most patients that come to see me in the initial evaluation, I tell them, I don't want to see you within 6, 7 visits. unless there's a big issue, unless someone needs more than just few visits. But the majority of people don't need ongoing care. And, you know, it's unfortunate that in this country there is the need to try to sell visits and have people come two, three times a week. In rare cases, unless again someone is acute, I'll see them 2-3 times a week. But they can report in between via text, via phone call, and that really, you know, all in all helps my outcomes.
I have the same experience before. I have a friend, and then I help her parents, and they got better like super fast, and they had like years and years of pain. And like her dad told me, I never forget about this. He was like, how you're gonna make money like this? Like you have to keep your patients like for 10 visits or something. You can't just give them on the first day everything. Like he was surprised, he was shocked that he improved so much. And that was his first reaction. And I was like, no, like, oh my God, that's crazy. But yeah, unfortunately is the how things work.
Yeah, but people appreciate if we can fix a person fast. I mean, the public now is experienced, right? Especially the baby boomers, the folks that were born between 1946 and 1964. They already had, you know, which is it's the largest generation in the history of the United States that is retiring right now. A lot of them had bad physical therapy for many, many sessions. And all they want to do, they want to age gracefully. They don't want to have poor posture. They want to play golf. They want to travel. You know, hopefully they'll be able to travel, you know, during what's going on in this world. But majority of them don't want to come multiple. It takes time to, you know, take time off for work, to drive, to park, to, you know, to pay a copay. You go to 20. Some people, I say to them, you can go to 20, 15, 20 visits somewhere else, or you can come to 6, 7 visits. You'll pay about the same, and you have the support in the process. But I leave it to the patients. You know, I try not to force myself down anyone's throat. People always tell me, oh, I'm trying to get my girlfriend to see you. I'm trying to get my husband to see you. And I say to them, listen, don't push it. When they will be in pain, there's going to be the right time. That's when they're going to call. And I never, ever stress about it. That's how I trust. Whatever you believe is out there, I trust it exists. That's how I operate my life. And so what I do know is when you do what's right, it comes back to you.
Very true. Very true. Now talking about your experience recording the Treat Your Own Back DVD with Robin McKenzie and interviewing him, I think it's so amazing that you had this opportunity. So what did you learn from this experience about Dr. Robin McKenzie and his method that you would like to share with us?
First of all, I'll share with you how it all started. I did a segment on CBS Miami with a gentleman named Harry Dornbush that came to my office. I believe it was 2009. Came to my office with a really nasty shift. And so I helped Harry and we did a CBS segment, and someone said that send Robin that CBS segment. And one day in 2010, I was working for a company called Canyon Ranch, and I opened my email, and I see an email coming from Robin McKenzie. So I look at the email, like I started to get like dry mouth and shaking, and I have the email with me. I can send it to you later. Dear Yoav, I was very pleased to see that you got my method into mainstream media in the United States, something like that. Would you consider starting talks about developing a DVD or some kind of a digital format of Treat Your Own Back? And I'm saying to myself, would I consider? Like, hello? I'm like, oh my God, I have to. So make a long story short, we started negotiations and I flew to New Zealand twice, once in 2007, once in 2010. And we did, this picture here is the interview, part of the interview we did in Robin's house in New Zealand. And it was, it was amazing to sit with a man that was voted one of the most influential clinician of orthopedic physical therapy. A man that, wrote a book against the tide. He believed in something. People poo-pooed him. People didn't want to listen to him. People said that he's a charlatan, that the method is not really suitable for the majority of, and he fought. He believed in what he believed. He knew what he knew. And I, to sit with a man like this who left a small island to spread his discoveries around the world and received a lot of backlash, a lot of the congresses and the seminars. And, in those days, he wasn't organized. Teaching part A or part B was just seeing patients. There was no manual. There was no structure to the organization. But eventually, little by little, he got people to help him. And Kathy Hoyt brought him into America and to lecture here. And to me, to sit with a man like this was an amazing opportunity. And the DVD is not being sold anymore. Hopefully, we'll do something soon in a digital format. But it was a great, I think it was in the market for 6-7 years through OPTP. And it was an honor. I mean, for me, it was an unbelievable, nice way to fix my neck with his methodology, following his findings, and I was able to really resolve my problem. And then to interview such a gentleman is a very unique experience. I'm happy it's on YouTube. People are watching it. And so, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's super cool. I imagine. It's such an amazing experience.
Yes.
So as we transition to the end here, I have 3 questions that I want to ask every pro guest here. So the first question, what is your favorite resource of information? Do you have any book or specific papers or studies that you like in particular?
I personally, let me bring it here. Dr. Ron Donaldson wrote, and I think it's an incredible book called Rapidly Reversible Lower Back Pain. I've read it multiple times. He also wrote another book, I think it's called Solving the Mystery for the general public. I think Dr. Donaldson, who's an orthopedic surgeon who also is a diplomat in MDT, has helped me a lot throughout the course of being both probationary faculty and faculty. I feel very comfortable contacting him if I have any issues.
Good tip. And what would be the best advice you can give to the clinicians that are starting their careers?
Clinicians that are starting their careers, I would highly recommend to take our courses. Obviously, it sounds like I'm selling but it's true. It's such an amazing method that if they really, it's kind of hard because sometimes they have to learn other courses to really realize that, with all due respect, Graston and myofascial release and dry needling and all those maybe help few people, but since mechanical pain is the most common pain in the world that everyone will feel, we do mechanical diagnosis and therapy. So if they want to get better and they want to enjoy their career, MDT is the way to go. Absolutely. And don't take just A, B, C, D. Take A, B, and then retake C and D 4 or 5 times so you're comfortable. Come to our conferences. Get yourself involved with people who are older, who have seen more patients. And that's a very good recipe for success in your career.
Thank you for your advice. And what personal qualities or abilities do you think that are important to become a successful physical therapist?
Being able to educate, being able to read who's sitting on the other side of the table in front of you, being able to ask the right questions, not to just fill the form. Filling the form is never going to give you all the answers you need. You need to be interested in the person in front of you. And you shouldn't be rushed. Some therapists in the courses we teach are telling me they have half an hour initial evaluation. It's hard. You should have at least an hour. 45 to an hour to get a solid evaluation. Spend time with the patient, get to know them. And so collect the history, do the good history, and then make sure you take good, important notes that you notice when you read the person sitting there, the patient that is giving you the answers. Be sure on the follow-up to spit back the important things that you heard from the patients. It's very important. So, people, one of the chief complaints is people say doctors don't listen to me, therapists don't listen to me. We as physical therapists, we have a lot of time to spend with the patient. So invest that time in getting to know them, understanding what to ask properly. And that takes maturity and time. You need to be experienced to be able to pull the right answers out of the question, out of the patient. And that comes by asking the right questions.
Yeah, I think assessment is everything, right? If you're not able to do a proper assessment, you can treat the patients and you can have good results. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Assessment is everything.
So, well, we have arrived to the end of the show, Dr. Yoav. And before we let you go, how can people find out more information about you and your work?
I post a lot of things related to our business, to MDT, on my Facebook page, which is South Beach Spine Physical Therapy. Please like the page, and on a weekly basis, you're going to get something. There's tons of material there that will help you, the clinician, educate your patients. So that's one source. I would say for now, you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Yoav, DRYOAV. But I think as far as professional information, Facebook is what I'm using right now to show the good outcomes and the good improvements we're doing in both public health as well as corporate healthcare. So, and I share as many tips and advice and strategies that every clinician that goes to this page will be able to benefit from.
I'm going to put all these notes on our episode so people can check it there later. And
thank you.
I have really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much, Dr. Yoav, for joining us.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. And have a good day.
You do the same. Thank you so much.